What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Burgers and Banter. Today we are in Wembley at Fat Burger, and the guy to the right of me is
Ray Brown, baby.
Ray Brown, baby, aka not black but brown. And today's special guest is writer, poet, public speaker, and business owner. Let me not forget that, Salma. Come on.
Hey.
What an intro. This is Salma. How are you feeling today, love?
I'm good. I'm really excited.
Are you ready to taste these burgers?
I'm starving. I didn't eat breakfast on purpose.
Awesome. Let's go taste these burgers then.
I forgot my lines.
The days, oh my days.
It goes lights, camera, action when I step into the limelight. Easily adapted to the high life. Dressed to impress like it's prom night. And when you live in top shelf, you know you gotta set the bar high. Had the same dreams as we was kids. Big trips, big cars, and even bigger cribs.
So guys, as you can see, we are inside Fat Burger, and the first topic we're going to be talking about is people sending nudes. But before we get into that topic, guys, what have you gone for your starters?
I've gone for the Carolina hot barbecue bonus wings.
I also have bonus wings.
Nice.
Just hot, not Carolina, not barbecue.
Awesome. I too have gone for the Carolina boneless wing
With carrots.
Wait, you
with
got
carrots. I don't
something?
know why they gave me carrots. They probably knew I was the healthy one.
Clearly asked for the
Maybe
carrots.
they're
I didn't
trying to tell you
ask for that.
something.
I
Clearly
legit
asked.
did not ask for the carrots.
Wait,
So
why
I'm quite
don't-
impressed.
Why
They
do you
gave
guys
me
have any
carrots.
sauce? I got blue cheese sauce
You
here.
got too much sauce.
Stop.
I see what you got.
Nah,
Okay,
you can't pound me.
I
You
was
can't
gonna
pound me.
You can't get guys, you wanna dig in? Should we try these out?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have it. I haven't had breakfast today. I have been saving
Simply for
myself. Yeah,
I like that. She's ready.
I'm ready.
But it's not really hot. It's more kind of just like barbecue sauce. That's what you said last time, innit, bro? I actually found it funny that they gave me carrots and they didn't give you carrots. It's kind of like,
Cause you a rabbit ass nigga.
Wow.
oh wow.
Okay.
Oh, so you said the N-word again.
I'm like, stop.
That's 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row.
Bro, Sonny says the N-word every single episode.
No, I don't. But guys, what are your thoughts on nudes? Do you guys send nudes? Do you receive nudes? What do you think?
I receive nudes daily.
Sorry, buff.
Daily.
Yeah.
Why do you think you get nudes daily?
I don't know, man. I think
Because you're so devastatingly attractive.
it must
That
be.
must be it.
It must be
That must be
Must
it.
be.
Or they saw me wearing grey joggers one day and thought, you know what? Let me send them my CV.
You think they saw the outline of your dick and liked what they saw?
I mean, I didn't say that. I just said grey joggers.
And as soon
Because
as
every
it's-
time a guy wears joggers, I look at the outline of his dick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I saw yours this morning.
What do you think?
I wouldn't send you a nude.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Just saying.
Well, my inbox is full anyway, so I probably wouldn't get it.
Fine. That's alright then.
What do you think about nudes? You send or receive them?
So, I had a rant about this. When you're in a relationship with someone, or you're seeing someone, or you're sleeping with someone, you guys want to send nudes to each other, 100% go at it, right? It's empowering to capture your body via your own eye, right? Like, you get to frame the shot, you get to take the picture. That's a form of empowerment, right?
Yeah.
However-
I see where you're coming from.
What I have a problem with is when guys like consistently ask for nudes when there's not, I guess, a relationship of trust there in the first place. So many guys, and this is from experience and my friend's experience, will ask for nudes and they'll often say things like, oh, just to help me sleep.
For what?
That's bullshit.
Honestly, like just to help me sleep. Like if you say, no, I don't want it, they're like, oh, just to help me sleep. Or like,
What does that mean?
or give me something to remember, like how, how remember how you.
What does
or,
that mean?
I'm not gonna see you until like next week, so let me like, send me a nude in it. When they put a responsibility on the woman for their behavior, like send me a nude so I don't look at nobody else tonight.
Okay.
Fuck you, manage your own behavior. Well, I don't need to send you a nude so you check yourself when you're out in the club with your boys, right? Or send me a nude because I can't sleep. Go count some sheep. That ain't my responsibility that you can't sleep.
Oh,
No,
what's
there's
porn,
because
man?
there is an aspect of it
Go on
where
Pornhub.
people will ask for news purely just so that they can show their boys, like, bro,
Does that happen?
Yeah, 100%.
No, that's weird though. I don't even
That
do
happens,
that.
bro. People
It
send
does happen.
It
But I
does
think it's
happen.
weird though.
Huh?
I think that's weird though.
You think it's weird?
It's very like immature.
It's not necessarily send me it so I can show my boys, but then if it comes, they'll be like, well, look, yeah, that's see my phone. I've got nudes on deck. Do you know what I mean? So that's how some people use it.
To be fair, when people send me dick pics, I do show everyone. I put it on my stories.
No.
And I tag them in it.
Okay. She
Wow.
does.
That shows
All shapes and sizes.
Yeah. So that
Wow.
that means a lot.
You gotta be careful sending Salma a nude, bro.
Yeah, man, that shit's gonna go straight on my story and I'm gonna tag you in it. I'm gonna name and shame you.
Have you ever sent an unsolicited nude? To
Never.
A random dude?
Why would you do that? Why would I don't understand why someone would actually sit there and think it's like appropriate to send someone a nude without permission. Like me personally.
Some people are exhibitionists.
Yeah, but
And
so
they're
then
like-
you can go out and do it. Don't like
Yeah.
force it in someone's periphery like that.
But some people get gratification from doing it.
But at the same time, do you not feel like there must be, like for lack of a better term, a market for it? Because like guys must be doing it because it's actually working with certain women. Do you know
No,
what I
but
mean?
also, because then I also thought this and I was like, which was the first woman who was like, this is amazing, let's get married because I've just seen this nude, right? Or come through to my house. But I don't think it's even that. I think it's just male sexual entitlement. If you live in a world that has told you for so long that you are allowed your sexuality and that people should gratify your sexuality, the notion of then taking a picture of your dick and just sending it is like, yeah, it's my right. It's an inherent right in a way that women don't have an inherent right to sexuality.
You kind of approach it from like the extreme side, where
yeah,
like it's
because
gone.
It's
like,
not the extreme side of it.
I
It's
think
the
it is,
basis
man.
of society.
I don't have that view on like sending nudes in it. Yeah. Like I don't think it's my right to just push my dick on like a random chick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I think Solly's saying that's an extreme thing because it's a very, I would say it's a small amount of men who actually think that, look, I'm gonna send you a dick pic because I can and I want to. I don't give a fuck what you think.
I'm not saying it's that conscious, but we live in a world that then rewards behavior or punishes behavior, and it breeds a social consciousness. The way we do things, we don't always tap into it consciously. We do it because it's either part of our world or learn patterns of behavior. Or how many people do you know that are genuinely aware of why they're doing? People aren't that self-aware.
So it's subconscious.
Of course, it's subconscious. Yeah.
you think it's subconscious?
Yeah, I get that.
Like,
Because
subconscious that it's their right.
I don't necessarily think it's.
I think it's subconscious. I agree
You
with
can't
what you're saying because
send
I
a
think-
dick pic to someone subconsciously.
No. She means that the fact that you find it acceptable to do so
Is
is like it's like privilege, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's
It's,
like male
exactly
privilege.
like white privilege, right? Think about it like white privilege.
Flip side,
I always agree.
where women can like be in the same position as like sending nudes without permission.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes they do. I'm not saying this isn't a blanket rule. Of course, there's
Yeah,
always
of course, of
exceptions.
course.
But if we're talking about a general rule, generally they don't.
Yeah.
Generally, they're so hung up on how their body looks by everything society's told them. They don't want nobody to see it.
So do you think that women should? Because look at this way, So the dudes that do like send free dick pics, it's through that subconscious privilege that's like been built up over years, isn't it?
Yeah. And
So
they're
do you
also
think
a
that
bit-
2018 is the time when women should be like, you know, fuck it, like I like this guy, I want to see what I'm working with, but and just like hand them like dish not dish it out, but just be free like the way we are to do what they want to do, and then over time there'll be like a more balanced, and there won't be privilege. It'll just be normal. It is what it is.
Right, and I see what you're
It's
saying.
normalised nudes, basically.
It's normalised
Yeah,
news.
normalize news. Like why not?
That could be the
That's
hashtag
it.
campaign
Legalizing legalizing weed, bro.
But
You gotta normalize them nudes. You know what I'm saying?
I see what your point is, but what you're saying is to gain some kind of equality or parity between the genders, women then need to take on the behaviours and attributes of men to then get parity. And I don't agree with that.
But I don't think that sending a dick pic is an attribute of a man. Though. Like you said, like it's an inherited privilege. It's not like a biological thing that's ingrained in my DNA to send a dick pic. But like you said, due to like patterns of behaviour and social conditioning, like, I have inherited that privilege.
Yeah.
But it's not. But if a woman was to send a dick, like a nude, that's
pic.
not pussy pic, whatever. That's not the behaviour of a man. That's just.
No, but now you're acting like men do in our current society.
Yeah, but
right?
that can change though. But that can change.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way to go about it. Like, and if I met a guy
I'm not saying that's the way
that
to
I
go about it, but I'm just saying like in the way we feel free, like that's never gonna change in it. The only way it can change The only way it can change, I personally believe, is that like if you just say fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever I fucking want to do.
Yeah.
People initially will get backlash because everything gets backlash. But once you keep doing something like, bro, like look at civil rights, bro. They didn't want us to use the same drinking fountains as white people, fam. And then as soon as they were like, listen, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm gonna keep doing it. Civil unrest, all of that shit. And I'm not saying that, bro. I'm talking about nudes, you know.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not civil rights. But I'm just saying, like, the more you push back, like that's the only way shit can change, fam.
Yeah, but you're assuming that I want the change to be that I have the privilege to send nudes. I don't necessarily want that.
I personally think it comes from a situation like making people understand that it's not right to send nudes.
Right.
But I don't think.
Regardless, if a woman sent it to you without permission, without consent, that's not okay.
Yeah. Like either way, it works both ways.
So, like for example, some guy sent me a video on Instagram of him ejaculating. The moment he came, he filmed that and put that in my DMs.
Brother, who has the frame of mind to even capture that moment, bro? Like.
I felt physically nauseous. I was like,
I'll be honest though.
I don't want. If I was with someone and in love with them, I don't want him to send me that video anyway. Why do you think I want it from a stranger from the internet?
The shame of it, yeah, and probably the reality at the same time is that guy that probably didn't just send it to you. He probably sent it to like a bunch of people at the same time, and then hope. Like that's where I'm coming from in terms of
replied.
Yeah, where that's why it must be working for someone because they're not just sending it to you and singling you out. They're sending it to a bunch of people and hoping that one person says, yeah, cool. Like, I got a reply, that chick said, it can even be the smallest thing like ooh, like it could even be something like it can even be something like ooh, you give someone like that, it's like a you give them even this, like they smell blood.
Yeah,
and then literally they'll pursue it. That's why I feel like it has become acceptable in a certain way because there's certain people who they're attracted by it, they're turned on by it.
Right, and what about the women who then tell them off and reprimand them? Do they enjoy it? Is it just an attention-seeking thing? They just want someone to talk to them.
Absolutely.
Okay, but so I never reply to them, right?
Yeah.
I always just block it, report it, whatever.
Yeah,
but what?
But
I know that there's women who would be like, "This is disgusting. What you're doing," but they live on that. They want that. It's still attention, isn't it? They're still rewarded for putting their dick out there, aren't they?
And then,
now you've got my attention. Now I'm talking to you. I'm giving you my time.
Exactly. So then what, can you blame guys? Because that's what I'm saying. That's
so
what
I'm
it feels
saying
like
is maybe
working.
it's not even a sexual motive. Maybe it's I just want attention, and it's how I'm gonna get it.
But I think
Maybe I don't want you to come through and sit on my dick. I just want to talk to you.
But I think people get gratification from like you know there's like people who do like public masturbation and shit.
Yeah.
Shit like that or
not
flash.
Yeah.
They'll flash in public like shit like that.
I had friends, someone like wanking on the tube opposite them.
Bro, people get off of that. So
if you watch this show, don't do that, please.
But you can't tell someone not to do something.
Nah, I'm telling you now.
Don't do this at home.
I'll happily let you unsubscribe for doing that shit.
Calm down. We've got like 6 subscribers, bro. Relax.
We're scaling. Exponential is gonna come soon. Don't watch it.
Consent goes without saying, yeah. But I feel like the bigger issue here is the equality. I think. And in kind of what you said, that we have the privilege to do what we want.
Right.
I'm saying that.
And you're not punished in the same way for your sexuality that women are. No one's ever going to be like.
But that's what I'm
put
saying.
your
Though.
dick
I
out
believe
there,
that
right?
the only way that can change is if there's because I feel like more dudes like to get like unsolicited nudes than not. And the ones who do chat shit about, she's a hoe, like why she doing that, them are not insecure, bro. Them are not insecure. Because I have no shadow of a doubt that like 10 minutes ago you just asked to go for a nude. Same man who will beat a chick on the first date, yeah, and then call her a hoe. It's them same men. So
that's a blanket statement.
It's not the same man. It's not the same man.
But it's the same man, yeah, that will push a girl to fuck on the first date. And then when they do, they call her a hoe because she done that.
Yeah, but so what you're essentially saying and what you're talking about is that the patriarchy and all of its double standards, right, which is 100% true. Yes, there are men who will be like, this woman's a hoe if she does X, Y, Z, but then they're happy to do X, Y, Z with that woman, right? So men are here with nudes, right, and they can send them. There's no retribution. Everything's great. What you're saying is to get that equality, women need to level up to there so that they can send them without retribution and no one's getting called a hoe, and then that would be some kind of equality. But maybe the men need to level down, and maybe that shouldn't even be a thing. Like, why do I have to then level up and start acting like a man by sending nudes and then just doing it without the fear of retribution?
I don't think that's male behaviour though.
What? Doing shit without the fear of retribution?
Like, sending a nude. Yeah, but that's not male behavior. That's like
predominantly
saying
male behavior.
Yeah, but then that's like saying being a CEO is white behavior because like
it is predominantly.
Not you it's, yeah, but it's not. It's
We're
not.
gonna pull out some
Yeah, but it's
data
not
for
like
you.
yeah, but it's not white behavior. It's just that it just so happens that in present day, CEOs are predominantly white old men.
Yeah.
And like I'm saying, the only thing that can change is us, man. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the attitudes towards
It's us.
females doing that stuff needs to change as well. Like I'm not.
No,
I'm not saying
100%.
that,
Able to
More
send more
women
nudes.
don't need to send nudes in it, yeah. But the only reason I make that point is because you're obviously saying that like we have the freedom to do that,
Everything.
without judgment in it. So I'm placing it in that context that
Right,
you also
exactly.
have, like you can do that. And some
Right.
people will chat shit.
They have
some
the
people
freedom,
will
but that
chat
doesn't
shit.
make it like
Nah,
acceptable for them to
No,
do that.
100%. But also,
See,
what you have to
but you're making two different points, bro. Because you're saying that like, on one hand you're saying they don't have the freedom to do it, but then you're saying they have the freedom, but it's not right.
No, they don't have the freedom. But what you're saying is they don't have the freedom to do it. But also, if they had the freedom to send news without retribution, that doesn't necessarily mean that they should be doing that or that everyone wants to do that.
Yeah, but then that's a different issue. But then because then once there's equality, the issue then becomes the consent.
Okay, but here's my question. We're talking about nudes, singular, like as in the transactional thing that happens between men and women when they send naked pictures to one another, right?
Yeah.
But that's not it, is it? You can't take that in isolation because nothing exists in isolation. You actually have to take the topic of nudes in the wider context of male and female gender parity. You have to take it in the context of sexuality and how female sexuality and male sexuality is rewarded and encouraged and how those behaviors play out, because this is a finite smaller aspect of those broader issues, right? So it's not as simple as, well, let's just get it so that women can send news without retribution. It's actually an entire sociological ideology about how women are perceived and how their sexuality is rewarded, perceived, behaved. Like if we want to talk about female sexuality, right, we don't really talk about it in our society, right? If we were talking about female sexuality, we might be more inclined to be like, yeah, I'm so empowered and I feel great about my sexuality. I want to send a nude just to someone, to some random stranger, because I think I look that fucking hot and I want to send that. But we don't reward female sexuality in that kind of way, right? Because actually, female sexuality is hidden, is basically you're a whore or you're a slut if you have female sexuality, and we don't put any emphasis or importance on female pleasure, which is manifest by the conversation that we just had when you were like about going down. Men expect it, but we don't expect to give it to women.
Very interesting, very interesting. What do
It's a
you
broader
guys
issue.
think? What do you guys think? That was very interesting. I didn't expect nudes to go that deep. But guys, what did you guys think about this topic? Make sure you leave your comments below because it is very interesting what we've discussed. But guys, how did you find your starters?
They were these. Very
A
decent.
little bit dry on the inside.
A little dry on the
A
inside.
little bit.
Alpha.
Tree, no forest.
Same joke. Cool.
Bruv, like
3.5. 3.5.
Cool. I'll go for a 3.5 as well.
They're amazing and perfect.
Alright guys, so we're going to be moving on to our mains now, and for our mains the topic we're going to be talking about is living up to family or parent expectations of us. But before we get into that, guys, what have you gone for your main?
I went for a triple fat burger
What are your fries?
with curly fries.
Curly fries.
I have gone for a single fat burger with
Fat burger
skinny fries.
with skinny fries. And I have gone for a double fat burger with some sweet potato fries. Wow. Wow. Guys, we're gonna have a taste of this though.
Yeah, we're all switching it up. 1, 2, 3.
Let's do it.
I don't know how excited I am to bite into this. I've waited for this for approximately 3 hours, and I'm excited about it.
He was not joking as well.
Not.
Oh, shit, I forgot I got the extra egg and bacon.
You do? That's an egg in there.
Wow.
He's having brunch.
Alright, so Salma, so basically I recently watched one of your TED Talks, and in it, you briefly mentioned about your parents wanting you to marry a Muslim guy.
Yeah.
And this actually got me thinking about the whole kind of expectations that our family and our parents set on us. And I just want to get you guys' thoughts on why do you think like our parents give us some expectations, and why do we feel the need to actually live up to those expectations?
Good question. I think, well, our parents just want the best for us, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think they want, and I remember my mum saying to me, we want you to have the best of everything, like career, love, family, like whatever aspect of your life, we want you to have the best of, right? And I remember saying, which we know is impossible, but we still want it. There's still that irrational want and desire from parents to have their children happy in every aspect of their life, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of expectations come from.
Okay.
Like how many times what your parents have said to you, we just want the best for you, right?
More time they just say they want me to be better than them. That's where I feel like it comes from a lot of the time, is that they want me to have what they didn't have, because a lot of they come from like very Nigerian backgrounds where they were born and raised in Nigeria. So for them, it's like they see it as you've got so much that I didn't have.
We didn't
I
have.
want you to have this, but then that creates like a pressure and a demand in itself.
Yeah,
To
massively.
like try to reach these like unreachable heights of, okay, you need to get this, you need to get that. But in reality, it's like, cool, your situation was different. I appreciate your situation, but you don't really get how life is now. Things have moved forward in such a way that parents don't really understand that. To them, it's very straightforward. Like you said, marriage, love, finding people, finding the right person. But in our generation, I feel like a lot of us have things that we care about more deeply than kind of like living up to certain parents' expectations of us. On the flip side, you have people who feel like they have to live up to those parents' expectations because that's what they're kind of rooted in.
Okay.
What do you think, Raymond?
Bro, I feel, because obviously we come from the same background, like Nigeria, and like my parents aren't the strictest Nigerians that I've ever seen in my life, but like my mum is still very much like stuck in her ways, obviously brought up as in Nigeria, and I feel like I always kind of say, like I've never said it to my mum in here, just like out of respect, but I always think that if you wanted me to be a Nigerian man, you should have left me in Nigeria, bro. You know what I mean? But you took me to London.
I like that.
And obviously, like your parents kind of like they raise you, but like you're more formed by external forces rather than your parents, because you probably see your parents like the least. They're probably the people you see the least out of everyone. Like you see friends, teachers, colleagues, like way more than I think you'll see, and even TV, music, stuff like that, like which I think causes a cultural clash. And that's sort of the main thing when it comes to family is the culture clash.
So what do you guys think in terms of like what plays a bigger part in people's lives? Like, do you think it's the expectations that your family have of you, or the upbringing, the environment that you're brought up in?
I think it's both though, isn't it?
It's a bit of both.
Because the environment that you're brought up in is what your parents want for you. And also like where they place you in, like the community. So I come from a Muslim family, I'm Muslim, so the community that my mother and father placed me in. So the mosque and the Arabic school and, the Islamic school on a weekend and going to the different events in the community that were Muslim events, They placed me in that community, in those specific spaces, because they wanted to nurture the religion in me and they wanted to raise me in a religious environment.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I think there's some crossovers in that sense.
Yeah.
So have you ever felt like a clash between like your Muslim, like Egyptian upbringing? Because you're what, like half Irish?
Yeah, so I'm half Irish, half Egyptian, born in Cairo, but I was raised in Newcastle with my Pakistani stepfather.
Okay.
So I was raised by an Irish woman and a Pakistani man in Newcastle.
Okay.
And they're both very religious, so they were both very heavily involved in the Muslim community.
Yeah.
But of course there's a clash. I feel like I've been pulled a million different ways my entire life, and it's only as I've got older that I'm starting to reconcile those different parts of my life and bring them together. Because we always say that Muslim girls are like cats with 9 lives. We have 9 different lives. We have our clubbing clubbing live and our clubbing wardrobe when we were young, and then we had our Muslim and our mosque wardrobe that we wore when we went out there, and then we had all of our friends from university that didn't mix with our mosque friends, and then our do you know what I mean? We were always splitting ourselves into so many different parts to play so many different roles because none of them collided in one seamless stream. Do you know what I mean? And it is hard, and then you get tensions that are kind of bubble up. Like I spoke about in my TED talk, which was kind of being like, I was in love with a man outside of my cultural experience, right? So I was in love with a guy who wasn't Muslim, who wasn't ethnic, he was a straight up white guy who didn't even know if he believed in God. And then you're bringing him into a Muslim family and into a Muslim community, and your parents just wanting the best for you, right? And the best in their mind is a Muslim guy, right?
Yeah.
So now that there's a tension there that's being created.
For my mum, and a lot of mums out there is more like they want to show you off.
Yeah.
So if you're not kind of living up to like their expectations, you're not. I wouldn't say you're an embarrassment, but it's almost like you don't want to disappoint. They don't want to feel like, oh, to my friends, like I'm a disappointment because my son's not doing so and so.
Yeah.
So do you think like more? So what do you think? It's more that they want the best for you, or that they want not like a trophy because they're gonna love you regardless. But they want to have that like.
They want to be proud of you, right? And they want to say like they've done X, Y, Z, or they are doing X, Y, Z, right? But I think what's interesting is like, for example, do you both feel a lot of pressure from your parents to behave or in a certain manner or to achieve certain things?
I would say I felt pressure. I understand why parents do it, why they face like pressure on their children, because again they want their children to be better than they were. I've been able to kind of like deal with that pressure, and for me, if it's like what you're doing for me is from a place of love and it's logical in my head, like you're saying do this because it will have this benefit, and I'm happy to do it. But if it's a case where like my brother and my dad, like they would always clash because just two different personalities, I don't really understand that. Okay, he's doing this, which is on his terms, and my brother's doing this, and my dad wants him to do this. Even though it's both out of love, but what most Nigerians don't really, parents don't really understand sometimes is that, okay, it may be out of love, but you still have to respect that that's that person's life.
Decision,
right?
right?
It's that person's decision, that person's, like whatever they want to do. All you can, and this is for me with life, like all you can really do when speaking to someone or giving someone advice is literally that, give them advice, and it's their choice or decision to whether to take that advice and run with your advice, or to say, okay, cool, I respect your advice, but right now, it just doesn't align with what I'm trying to do. Sometimes, just because it didn't work for you, doesn't necessarily mean that it might not work for me. And that's what I feel like some parents
I think a lot of
don't
parents
really
project, bro. That's what it is. I know my mum definitely like projects a lot of stuff. So it's like, so she'll be like, the way she would handle a situation, she expects me to do the exactly the same way. And it's literally just a thing where, like, 'cause me and my mum are very similar.
Yeah.
Like when I hit the way my mum argues, the way like she thinks, like we're very similar in that respect. Yeah. But we just work like really, really differently. You know what I'm saying? Like she comes from like a very academic background. Like she got her masters and everything, and I come from a less like formal background to where like I didn't go uni, and I've just kind of like worked and grinded like for the past like 6-7 years. You know what I'm saying? So my mum can't really see the path and what I'm doing, where I can. You know what I'm saying? And plus we're from completely different times and cultures. You know what I'm saying? So I think that in terms of family expectations, it's just about respect, man. And like you said, just you give them the advice. You can't force someone to, because the irony of it all, I think, is that our parents would be like, they want you to be better, but they want you to repeat what they did. You know what I mean? So you can't do the same thing and get a different outcome.
At the same time, when we're talking about family expectations, I think there's a onus on us as children to manage our expectations with our parents as well. It doesn't just work one way.
What do you mean by that?
So when we're talking about family expectations, we're doing it from the lens of our parents have expectations upon us and the tensions that are then created when those expectations aren't fulfilled. Correct?
Yeah.
But actually, we also have expectations on our parents, and we need to manage them as much as our parents need to manage their expectations of us.
In what way?
So, in the way that, you know, we just assume blithely that they should be on board with every single thing that we do, and they should, of course, they should support you, but that's not to say that they're just going to blind do it, and we need to
Understand that.
yeah, we need to understand where they're coming from and the pain and the trauma that they've had in their lives that have led them to certain points. Absolutely. And perhaps their experience. And you know, when I was 16 telling my mum something about what I was going to do, 110% she knew more about life than me, and she'd gone through more, and she understood more about people and how they were reacting around me. So when she told me about them, and I can dismiss it as like it's my mum being oppressive or whatever, it's actually life experience that's coming into play, right?
And it comes down to your point when you're saying that's like a mutual respect, or having that like relationship with your parents. But it's hard, I'll be honest, because having a relationship with your parents, from the sounds of like your relationship with your family, it's very loving and like close.
It wasn't always like that. Me and my mum went to war. But we were younger, we were like this, went to war, 110%. But you know. But
did you always feel like you can always like confide in your mum? Like
no.
Never.
So, and it's only when I got older, like when I remember telling her some intimate stuff, like, and it was only when I was like 28.
28, wow.
Was the first time I told her about me even being with a man, right? It took me till I was 28, until I was grown and we'd both grown in ourselves, for me to come to her as a woman and be like, woman to woman, I'm gonna tell you this. Not as like child to mother, but I'm always gonna be her baby, but still, like, no, we went to war with each other. And I think as you get older, you start seeing your parents less as your parents, but as whole humans with their own set of problems, trials, tribulations, you know?
Absolutely. I feel like it comes from kind of like having the courage to break that cycle and actually get to know who your parents are. For me, and I've told this to a few other people, it's like, cool, you're my parent, and I love you because you brought me into this world. But at the same time, there's aspects where like I love you, but I don't like you, or because I don't, do you know what I mean? It's like I don't know who you are as a person. I respect you because you birthed me.
Yeah, the role that you play in my life.
Exactly.
Right.
Who are you? That's why even as a mentor, like you'll place a mentor with more respect because you already know who that person is, what they've accomplished. But most relationships with parents, it's very parent-daughter, parent-son.
Yeah, like how often do we sit with them and say like, what happened when you were my age, and what have you gone through, and tell me your story, and tell me about the first person you were in love with, and when was the first time you had your heart broken and lost your first job, and we don't, because we go in and tell our parents everything that's happening with our lives, but we don't ask the same back, which maybe
do you guys, just like throwing this out, do you guys think that's like, that's an ethnic thing? To an extent,
100%. None of my white friends be telling their parents everything. And I'm like, I'm gonna get beat if I do that. What are you doing?
Do you know what I mean? But I feel like, so you give birth to a child, and that child is a human being, and as much as you want them to,
let's hope so.
Yeah, no man. But as much as you want them to like be the best and be better than you and have all the things that you want them to have, you have to. I think the one thing that like parents don't understand is that like they're their own person in it.
Yeah.
And you have to give like because what you're doing by being oppressive and forcing rules on them is you're trying to create your perfect idea of a son or a daughter. You know? You're not giving them an opportunity to grow and actually be the best person they can be first, and then be the best son. Because what I think happens is that like child is born, so you're a kid, and then like become a teen, go to college, start meeting different people, maybe like meeting girls, meeting boys, but then you still got this like oppressive kind of regime at home that like you kind of have to hide, you know what I mean? So you're not really like flourishing to the best